Okay, so here's something super interesting that came out yesterday. Lucasfilm takes a cue from Marvel for its live action Star Wars movies and shows. Now, this is, before we jump into this here, this is quite frankly what everyone has been asking for. I just want to make that abundantly clear from the get-go. It's literally what everyone has been asking for, except the person that they put is someone you've never heard of, and that's causing a lot of problems, especially if your name happens to be John Campea, who threw an absolute butthurt fanboy rant on his show this morning because he doesn't like the person, the woman, that they put in charge of Star Wars in regards to its live action content and movies and television, things like that. I'm not even kidding you. Michelle Rejwan is basically going to be the Kevin Feige of Star Wars. And that is true. Now it says here, if the massive success of the Marvel Cinematic Universe has taught us anything, it's that having a single unifying voice like Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige overseeing the entire operation can be very helpful. Now, to put that into context for you, yes, Marvel's got it. 20th Century Fox kind of had Simon Kinberg, and we all know how that whole thing kind of played out. Some good decisions, some bad decisions, and it ended on a note. All right. The DCEU has gone through multiple overseers and they have zero faith in their overall division making DC films. That's why they keep going back and going forward, everything else. But we've always asked since The Last Jedi, that somebody come in and oversee Star Wars so Kathleen Kennedy can focus on the business. I've made that call multiple times. And I believe many people, myself included, have sat there and went like, Dave Filoni should be the person, the dude who fundamentally gets Star Wars after having tutored with George Lucas all those years, the man who is the best person, I believe, right now to fundamentally bring it home and back to what it needs to be. But Filoni is a creative and not a person who's going to want to oversee and run the day-to-day operations of both live action movies, animated television shows, and live action television shows on Disney Plus. So you have to understand that there is going to have to be, department heads, department leads, but there is now a single voice that is running the show, and that is Michelle Rejwan. So on Monday, Lucasfilm announced that it had named Michelle Rejwan the Senior VP of Live Action Development and Production in the studio. But here's where it's interesting, because then the question becomes, who the hell is Michelle Rejwan? What has she done? What is her tenure? What is her resume? What has she worked on that we would know of, that we would then be able to put faith into her running the show? It's not exactly what you think. Prior to her role within Lucasfilm, Rejwan worked as a producer on two of the films in the most recent trilogy. Right, she first started with JJ Abrams' Bad Robot back in 2011 with Super 8, which she worked on as an associate producer. She continued to work with Abrams as a co-producer for Star Trek Into Darkness, and she first joined the recent Star Wars trilogy along with Abrams as a co-producer on The Force Awakens, and is now working on The Rise of Skywalker as a producer. So she started off as an AP on Super 8 back in 2011, and then went on to work with him on everything else up until where we are right now. Here's the thing with that, and here's one of the reasons why I believe she was chosen for this position. Go back to Kathleen Kennedy. Look at her resume. She started off as an associate producer, or no, not even that, like as a script assistant on, I think it was 1942. And Spielberg met her, Spielberg liked her, and then he brought her on as an associate producer. One of her first AP credits was 1984 as The Temple of Doom, right there on the screen. She knew George Lucas. She knew Steven Spielberg. She's become a producer for a year. She's had her fingers literally in your childhood. She has two-knuckled your childhood multiple times over, to the point of where most likely the Me Too movement was shock and awe. Terrible joke, I apologize. However, it's true. Kathleen Kennedy has been in and around your childhood for a long time. Not the creepy uncle in the van sort of thing, but she's been there guiding it and giving you what you like, even though you don't, or being involved with what you like, even though you don't know her name. So maybe like the creepy uncle who's not creepy, but just kind of the black sheep of the family. So when she was chosen to take over for Lucasfilm back in 2012, it seemed like a good idea. She knew what she was doing in regards to producing films. Yes, she does. She doesn't know how to produce a franchise, because she's never really stayed with one for the tenure of it. She's overseen multiple projects, not just one massive franchise. So that didn't really work out so well. So now we get to Michelle Rejwan. That's kind of where we find ourselves. Now, her new role within the company will involve overseeing all theatrical and direct-to-consumer live-action content. So she's not handling the animation side of that. Sorry, I got that wrong. So that's still probably Filoni's gig, which is quite frankly where it should be. If you're not watching Star Wars Resistance, you're missing out. Show starts off a little like a children's show, because it is, But by the end of first season, it's pretty dope, man. It's good. It's really good. And of course, Rebels is fantastic, and Clone Wars coming back for another season is going to be great too. Now, she will also be working with Kathleen Kennedy to shape and implement creative strategy for Star Wars. What does that mean? They're going to work together to figure out how to get the brand out of the Sarlacc pit. Without Kathleen Kennedy being directly involved, that might actually end up doing well for the brand, because now the fanboys that are upset at Kathleen Kennedy for Rian Johnson are going to have a little bit of a defense. Kathleen can go, well, it's not my fault, it's Michelle's fault. And that, of course, puts a crosshair on Michelle's back, even though I don't quite feel that is fair to have there just yet. Wait for her to actually produce some stuff as the person in charge, rather than just stuff she's worked on as an associate producer, a co-producer, and then a producer. So you're going to have to sit there, and it's going to take a little bit of time, but she was tutored and mentored by JJ Abrams. Take for that what you will. But the dude is a success. And so if she's bringing some of that knowledge and some of that, harumph to the play, to Lucasfilm, that maybe that childlike wonder, because, maybe, I don't know her. I can't say to that just yet, but I'm curious to know more. Now, Kennedy says here, I've been incredibly impressed with her creative skills and her ability to manage the complexity surrounding these massive projects. Okay. The next scheduled Star Wars spinoff is going to be The Mandalorian, and that, of course, is not her just yet. And then there's going to be Cassian Andor, which she will be overseeing. The Rise of Skywalker, she'll be the producer on, and after that, it's going to end up being, anything. The D.B. Weiss and David Benioff trilogy is going to be their thing going forward, so she'll take over for that one. And what I'm hoping out of this is that Michelle, who, unlike Campia, I'm 100% willing to give the benefit of the doubt, man. I tuned into the show this morning and I caught him just going off on this rant. I'm like, what are you complaining about, man? Like, who was it? Like, did Kathleen Kennedy clone herself and then put her clone in front of Star Wars? Is that what happened here? But really, the way I look at it's like this. I understand where Campia is coming from in the criticisms of she hasn't, at least in our fans' eyes, completely fundamentally earned her place at the mantle of Star Wars. That is true. We don't know much about her. But at the same time, well, I don't think she got the job without the help of Bob Iger and Alan Horn and JJ Abrams, because the rumor has been for quite some time that they neutered the hell out of Kathleen Kennedy. They made sure Kathleen Kennedy was just kind of there in name only. And the rumor I've been hearing now is that they've been wanting to kind of migrate her towards more of a leadership position inside of Disney and move her out of Lucasfilm. Whether or not this happens before the end of her 3-year contract in 2021, I have no idea. But they are doing everything they can right now to separate her from the franchise. And that should tell you that there's been a massive, massive, massive loss of confidence in Kathleen Kennedy for Star Wars and probably Lucasfilm as a whole with Bob Iger. Because Star Wars Galaxy's Edge between both parks is $1 billion area. It's $1 billion land. Each park was $1 billion. And low, interest in Star Wars is not what you want when you drop $2 billion to make these lands. So, they got to figure out a way to fix that. And that's kind of where they are with the situation right here. So with Michelle, I wish her the absolute best of luck. From the bottom of my heart, I wish her the best of luck. It's not going to be an easy road. She's going to have so much criticism on her, so many eyes on her, so many people are going to be looking at every one of her moves, everything she says, and that is going to be a reality of it. She is now the face of Star Wars. And I hope she treats it with respect, because so far, at least in the last little bit, we haven't really gotten that. We've gotten the marketing machine, the Disney machine, trying to control it, which, look, I'm not against 2 or 3 Star Wars films a year, provided they're good. The problem with doing that right now is they don't have established lore to pull from to get fans excited for more, because fans don't know what's on the horizon. When you look at something like, let's say, the Marvel films, and they set up the Infinity Saga, they set that up back in 2011 with the Tesseract. So you know what's coming. 2012, we see Thanos. We know what's coming 7 years down the road. We know what's coming on the horizon, so we can get excited for it. They set the end point, and then they basically work their way backwards. Star Wars doesn't have that. Maybe Michelle can bring it. Maybe she can bring it. I don't know yet. But you know what? Not going to lie. If I was in her position, man, I'd be freaking the hell out. I would be all nervous. I'd be like, whew, don't ever go on YouTube and look at my name. You know what I mean? Like, don't do that at all. But I can't criticize her just yet because I don't know what her abilities are. I just hope that she takes wise counsel with Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau and other people at Lucasfilm who understand Star Wars, who love Star Wars, who know George personally, and that she doesn't listen and rely on the Star Wars story group, because at this point they are completely useless and should probably be, well, disbanded, like the Senate in Attack of the Clones. Your thoughts, your opinions on this one, let me know down in the comments below. I will talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great day, and peace out.